Hey YouTube, it is Unc Blurred, and today we're going to be talking about A Quiet Place Storm Warning from IDW Dark. This is the number 4 issue of this series, and this is a great piece of horror literature. The art is very emotional, very fun. The action is drawn beautifully, dynamically. And there are a couple of points here that I really did. First off, if you want to talk about this story type, it really strikes me as a modern day Jaws. You have one city official worried about keeping people safe, another city official worried about keeping the community financially safe. And those two are butting heads while there is a very real tragedy going on. The only difference is staying out of the water is not going to keep you safe in this story. If you're wondering, yes, this is based on the movie franchise A Quiet Place. And if you're wondering, do you have to know the franchise to enjoy this book? The answer is no. I've never seen A Quiet Place, none of the movies. But this book is very relatable. Like I said, we have the Jaws type story arc as well as small town dynamics. It takes place on a small community in the Mississippi River called Pearl. And what they've done is they've used the location of this community to set up, the entire plot. While America has been overrun, possibly the world has been overrun with these monsters, Pearl has been safe because these monsters, they hunt by sound, and they cannot get into the water. And so they haven't reached Pearl yet, and you have the fire marshal, who is the younger sibling of the mayor, who really, really wants to blow up the bridge and this isolated community to keep these things off of the island community of Pearl. And then you have the mayor, his big sister, who thinks that everything is overblown and that the silence from outside the community doesn't exactly mean disaster. And she doesn't see why the community has to close itself off economically and socially when they're not sure what's going on in the wider world. And they use a storytelling device I'm not a big fan of, that is non-sequential storytelling. You start with the town meeting about the radio silence from the outer city, from the wider community, and is there a potential emergency? What's going on with this outbreak or monster, whatever it is? And then you cut forward into the story to where you see characters that were on one side of things. Now they're just trying to survive these monsters, and so you find out that the island does get invaded by these things. And at the same time, you cut back and forth between the post-invasion and the pre-invasion of the brother trying to blow the bridges, of all kinds of turmoil pre these things. And in issue 4, we get a lot closer to these timelines converging, whereas the town see the full threat of these monsters face to face in the before storyline. And then we're still going to the after, and we're seeing how the survivors have adapted and how they use clever things to avoid them, like noisemakers or pool toys that set off sound so they can set the diversion and go the other way. And one very interesting thing about this storytelling device is you see the people in the town hall meeting, you meet the community members before, but then you only see certain community members after. Is that because those earlier guys have died in the period of time we haven't crossed? Are they just somewhere else? Are they doing what's going on with these people? And how did the sister, the mayor, go from a skeptic to now being kind of really a badass fighter of these monsters and survivor? And what happened to the fire marshal? We haven't seen him in the flash forward. And so it creates a lot of tension. You notice I haven't really shown you too much of the book. I don't want to spoil it. See, that's not the point of this channel. The few things I don't do is I don't talk about things I don't enjoy. I try not to give spoilers on new stuff, and it's all about spreading positivity and letting you know if it's something you might want to dip your head into. But I don't want to ruin the surprise and the joy of discovery of this book by giving you plot points. But trust me, it is a very, very good book. I'll give you the first page here, the community of Pearl, and the fire marshal here, and they're confronting one of the first monsters to cross into the community. So that gives you a good essence of the art style. In my opinion, IDW Dog has a great, great book on their hands, and I am definitely on board for however long this series runs. So that's my thoughts on A Quiet Place Storm Warning number 4. Get a local comic book store, and if you don't have a local comic book store, you can check out Midtown Comics. That's where I get my weeklies from. And I recently set up a full box with the guys on my hat, Pack Rat Comics, and be getting my first order from them the new comic book day of the 15th of July. So you're going to get to see how they ship, pack, and send out their orders if you order online from their website at packratcomics.com. It's a great company. I've ordered trade paperbacks from them and a few single issues. So I am very excited to start getting my weeklies from a small business again. So I'll see you guys next time. If you'd like to support the content on this channel, you can buy me a copy with the QR code on the screen right now. But most importantly, watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, maybe even sharing is much more than enough. I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep reading them books. You know I will. I'm out.